Okay, abusua ba makwa abashon so edeba Ghana politics abeni so abusua yembonra yensemu NPP founding member nyahu tamaklu abusua odinsem bi ababetu bia wa shock ono ankasa na former NPP MPs ministers no abusua na ocha President Mahama or say President Mahama and cancel and as on abolish Ex-Gracia yedema former MPs and the former member of parliament ebusuya enye asempetwa akranti no ne nsema o de betu dwane no na ya project e de ato ye screen no enchen e de amama no say constitution review abolish Ex-Gracia no tamaklu edges governments ebusuya na ocha or say constitution review abolish Ex-Gracia nyahu tamaklu edges government abusuya into ocha President Mahama enhwe na on abolish Ex-Gracia yedema former parliamentary MPs and I say former ministers of state and I say leaders of state no omo ayedema na asem we already to jano eno na shock NPP former ministers how much say na papai nyaho tamaklu asema ode ba betu jano say President Mahama oma ya no aduane emboye into no breaking news na nkasa na ya project ede ato ye screen no enchen ede amam and constitutional review last week and as a week we no paying for a submit a hon semede ma President Mahama no paying what na say ede hon pensemu ede ato jamo me yanko na yanko kwoti ensema so unsubscribe ya subscribe like na share ma afofon so ensa into me and kabia Ghana politics avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so there are any updates we are dropping on also able to me akabi medamase.
On the presidency and executive, the recommendations are as follows: extend presidential term to 5-year, lower minimum age from 40 to 30. Then the president's salary and benefits taxable. An independent body sets emoluments. And then members of parliament cannot be ministers, and cap total number of ministers, including their deputies, at 57. Allow criminal proceedings within 4 years of leaving office for personal acts. These are personal acts, okay? And then cap parliament at 276 members. Dual citizens by birth can contest parliamentary seats without renouncing their citizenship. And this is dual citizens at birth. All right. Then create independent registrar or regulator for parties and campaign financing. And then certain provisions amendable by 75% parliamentary majority. And this is under the legislative and electoral effectiveness. All right. Now, on accountability and the judiciary, establish independent anti-corruption and ethics commission with prosecutorial powers. Then the Supreme Court capped at 15 justices. The Chief Justice serves a single 10-year term. Then strengthen asset declaration, verification, and allow unsealed records. On local government and development, elect MMDCEs instead of presidential appointments. Then increase district assembly common fund to less than 10% of the national revenue. And then still on local government, make national development plan binding and require 2/3 parliamentary approval. Then on rights, justice, and the environment. 1, abolish the death penalty. Create ecocide offense to fight illegal mining. Then add rights to food in custody, housing, and digital privacy. Public lands and natural resources. On the natural resource management front, public lands and resources vested in the people held in trust by the state. And then we'll need further clarity on that from our lawyer in studio. Public lands or resources vested in the people and held in trust by the state, then allocate at least 3% of resource revenues to local communities. All right. So that's some of the highlights. That's not all of it. The document is about 127 pages long. But these are some of the highlights that we want to share with you today. However, in our discussion in studio, we might consider some of the suggestions which we have not given you in this summary that we've shown you on the screen now. But yesterday, my colleague Kimini Amano spoke to Professor Sh0čkěd, whose commission brought out these recommendations from their review. Let's take a look at some of the things that he mentioned. He spoke about some of the key issues which we will discuss today, and then we'll come back in studio to speak to them. Let's take a look.
More than 2 terms for the presidency.
There's no demand for it.
There's no demand for it?
There's no demand.
There have been talks about it.
In fact, in all of our engagements, I think I remember no more than 2 or 3 places or 2 or 3 instances where somebody said, let's remove the term, and everybody was like, in the room, you know. And one, it's not a popular thing. Every survey we've had in Ghana says, no, people don't want it. And even within the parties, you know, it is not only constitutions that protect term limits. I think that one of the strongest protections of term limits in Ghana are the political parties. Because there's a long line. Charlie, they want you to go. So which party do you think will sit there for any one person to stay over 2 terms? They don't want to chop the job too. Even Rawlings, they made him leave, right? The parties are one of the biggest protectors of the 2-term limits. So there is no demand, either from the people or from the party or from the incumbent president. Right? So it was a very easy choice for us. But also, we also realized that it's not a demand question. We don't yield to public. Even if there was a demand, we would have said no. Because it has allowed our democracy to grow, because we have term limits. Assuming we didn't have term limits, since 1992, how many presidents do you think we would have had? Let's say there was no term limits provision.
I mean, it's difficult to say more than 1 or 2.
Absolutely. Right? Because when you have the opportunity to stay in forever,
you will.
You will.
Professor Sh0čkěd, and he is the chairperson of the commission, the committee which has put forward these recommendations on how I believe we can better the 1992 Constitution, which has served us for well over 30 years. Now, you can send your comments and contributions in as well. We'll read them as we go. But in studio, let me just start with you, Bracco Powers. What's your general assessment of the work that the committee has put out?
Yes. Let me say good morning to your viewers and those who may be listening from any other venue. Personally, I am impressed with the work of the Constitutional Review Committee. And I think Professor Sh0čkěd and the committee members deserve special commendation for the swift and urgent manner with which they undertook this process. I think the 1992 Constitution has served us for well over 3 decades. So periodic review, it's not only necessary, but legitimate in a burgeoning or a constitutional and maturing democracy as we have it. So I think they've done well. The nationwide engagement, the stakeholder consultations, and the various fora they organized to engage to engage Ghanaians are commendable. And I think they've done a good work. And looking at the sweeping recommendations that they've made, I think some of them, personally, I agree with them, because some of them are in line with the wishes and aspirations of Ghanaians. Others, I think, were not motivated by the aspiration of Ghanaians, which I know will come to the specifics in the course of the conversation. But now, generally, I'm impressed with the work. Generally, and I think they've done a good job. In fact, they kept us on notice every step on the way, engaging us from social media, and I think it also demonstrates, commitment to participatory constitutionalism. what they did, and I respect him because as a man, as a lawyer and
a professor.
Yes, a literalist and someone who has written a lot with regards to constitutional matters and political issues. I expected him to have done what he has done. I think it's a good job they have done, and I commend him and the team for such a great work.
Okay. Nanayo, what are your general comments on the work that the committee has put forward?
Yes, and just as my colleague has said, I think that Prof and the team did an excellent job in my view. I had followed the work they had been doing up until they had presented their recommendations to the president. Fortunately, United Party also did submit a petition to the committee because if you looked into our great transformational plan as part of good governance on the pillars of good governance, we had proposed certain amendments and a constitutional review in its totality. We had anticipated some of these things occurring, and we did a very good background work, and so we said, okay, why don't we submit a petition to them for consideration?
Okay.
And if you look at what they had done and the few that had come out, I mean the summary report, you would understand that indeed the 1992 Constitution haven't served us over 32 years?
Yeah.
33 or so years, 3 decades. Yes, this year will be 33. The constitutional and democratic governance of Ghana has grown. And listen, the time when the 1992 Constitution was being written and was being accepted by Ghanaians to be our guide, there were certain things that we had considered. These things have changed over time. If you look at our democratic dispensation now, if you look at the way we have grown with the rule of law, there is a need for us to review. If we are not able to review and adjust these laws to suit our modern time and democracy and politics of today, then we are heading to doom. And so I think that it was timely. I mean, the constitutional review was timely, and I think that we were fortunate to have gotten individuals who understood not only the law, but understood our culture, understood our orientations, okay, and understood our needs as a nation, comparing us to the
other countries in the region.
You understand?
Right.
And so I think they have done well. They deserve an applause. Yes.
All right, Theophilos.
Yeah, I can't help but agree with my colleagues here that they've done a great job. A cursory look or just an overview will tell you that it's a bit detailed. My worry, however, has been, are they writing a new constitution? It looked like almost every part of the constitution has been dissected one way or the other.
Almost every part?
Yes.
Okay.
Almost every part has been with some new suggestions, some new recommendations and stuff like that. Yes, constitution is supposed to be a living document.
Yeah.
It's supposed to grow. It's supposed to meet the aspirations of the people, and it's supposed to meet what the people expect to happen tomorrow, today, and forever. Where I depart with Nanayao is, when are we going to do another review, another amendment? Are we going to just because things are changing every time? So now we should have a document that will be far-reaching, that will span a long time, maybe another 30 years before we are thinking about reviewing. Yes, the team that was composed, the professors, the other lecturers, the former Chief Justice. Yes, this legal, yes. My worry, however, is those who boycotted in 1992, did they find time now to make their views and representations known so that the things they boycotted then, they don't come in tomorrow and say we were not part. But I think that with the sort of legal brains around the president, we need to hasten slowly in some of these recommendations that are coming back from the review. It look as I said, it looked like they have rewritten a whole
you really feel that way?
Yes, I feel that way. And if you pick them point by point, as you are saying, you will see that it looks like almost every chapter. And that is the purpose of review, actually. But whether they need to be that way, that we tear everything aside to see what is in it.
Well, let's look at the reviews that they put forward.
But on the totality, a good work done to the professor and his team, and the Chief Justice Emeritus, and Professor Jokoto, Dr. Rene, all of them. I think they did a marvelous job.
All right. Now, let's look at some of the suggestions that were made. And one comment that Professor Prempeh made in that video regarding, I beg your pardon, regarding the term of office, he said that, so here, Clause 1.1, the committee proposes no amendment to Article 66.2, as we find no ambiguity regarding its meaning and no need to extend the two-term limitation on the number of terms a person may be elected to hold office as president. So this is what he spoke about in that video, where he said that there was no point changing the term from 2 terms to 3 terms. However, what a lot of us are talking about on air and online is this recommendation. The committee recommends an amendment to Article 66(1) to extend the length of a president's term from 4 years to 5 years. And then 1.3, Clause 1.3 says, the committee recommends an amendment to Article 62B to lower the minimum age a person must attain to qualify for election as president from 40 years to 30 years. And that's where I'd like us to start from. I'll start with you, Bracco Powers. What do you think about this recommendation?
So I think, first off, the proposal or the recommendation on the reduction of the
minimum age.
The minimum age, I think it's too low.
Why?
Yes, because the thing is that I don't know, but the thing is, constitutional review must be backed by empirical data. What data did they use to make this recommendation?
They've cited examples from elsewhere, more advanced countries, like France, for example.
Now, that may be plausible, but is it relevant? We are living in different jurisdictions. We have different cultural backgrounds. The thing is that you should not be interested in picking people's experiences and imposing it on your people, because we have different background altogether.
But they even cite the Westminster Constitution. I mean, they cite a time in Ghana where we had 21-year-olds in Parliament. President Akuffo, for example.
I'm saying that, if anything at all, it should be reduced to 35.
What are your reasons?
The thing is that, you even articulated, considering our educational system, at what age would you even call yourself a graduate of a university? At what age? Looking at the statistics. I think a better appreciation of a minimum age, a reduction of minimum age, should be, or should reflect at maybe 35 years, should be better. Not, I think 40 years to 35 is okay, but not 30. I think it's still on the low side. And it does not, it does not come across as a serious recommendation to me. Because I think, like I told you, every review must be back. You cannot say because of France or some other jurisdictions, because they have similar age, so we should also peg ours at the same time. I don't think it's I'm not really interested in that. And I mean, another interesting thing is a addition of 1 year to the 4-year term, which I find it interesting.
Why?
And I was asking myself, and I think you don't need a soothsayer to tell you that the reason for this recommendation was because it has been said that the 4-year term is insufficient for a government to plan, execute, and consolidate development projects or programs, which I find it's not laudable or sound politically.
Is that so?
Now, here's the thing. So why are we giving them 5 years instead of 4 years? Don't forget that Ghanaian folklore says, "Agrobesoa if the quality of a game is seen or is evident from its beginning." We've had back-to-back NPP and NDC. What has been the developmental outcomes? Can you tell me today that NDC or NPP these two political parties, these two dominant political parties, have done superior or have achieved superior developmental outcomes in this country since they took turns to rule this country.
You mean since 1992?
Yes. Can you point to
You don't see any
superior
developments
between these two?
But these two are the only two we've had.
That's
And so all the developments we have as a country has come from these two.
That's why I'm saying that neither the NPP nor the NDC can say that they have superior, or they have done superior things, or they've achieved superior things since they got the opportunity to rule this country. There's none.
I don't understand what you're saying.
So what I'm saying is that the two political parties have not done enough for us to even increase the term limit. They've not done enough. And before you do that, there must be empirical evidence that this person, now, you promote somebody who has done well. You don't promote somebody who is underperforming.
So does that, I mean, this point you're making sort of goes to buttress the point of those who are in favor of the 5-year term.
No, I'm not.
To say that a 4-year term is not sufficient for a new government to put together their government, usually which happens during the first year.
Enough.
Get to work, and then the final year, you see that there's a distraction of campaigning for the next electoral year.
Okay.
You understand?
And so political highway. So a year nyaho tamakulu and it is a project say nasema or kind of edituja or chess a ex-Gracia as a government na or abolishing na yare hon sem bebre unsubscribe here, subscribe, like, na share ma afofronso ensa into me and can be Ghana politics happening. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any update be ever dropping on so onsa to me aka.